Hey guys, do you want to be 1200 in chess? Then let's solve these tactics together. Now in this position, it's White's turn and he wants to checkmate in 2 moves. Can you find the right solution? Now Black tries to checkmate White, so we have to be very careful and give a check automatically. And the correct move isn't Rook e6 because afterwards d1 would win for Black. But we played a beautiful move, Queen to h3, King to g6, and after Queen h7, we checkmate our opponent. And there is no escape for his king, and this position is checkmate. Let's continue with the second tactic. Now this game is a little bit more complicated, and we try to checkmate our opponent in 3 moves. Now you might say that you can take the knight of Black with your white rook, but afterwards Black can just take on b8 and prevents getting checkmated, or he can simply trade the queens and afterwards there's no harm for Black at all, so that's definitely not the right idea. But you can play Queen to e7, and what follows after knight to d7, it's the sequence Queen takes d7, King d7, and Rook e7. And now Black King has no escape anymore, so White has to sacrifice his queen in exchange for placing the Black King to a very bad square. Alright, third tactic. This time a game between Korchnoi and Spassky, and last move of Spassky was Queen from d7 to g4, which was a fatal mistake, and now White could have won and actually did win the game with the next move. The question is, can you find what Spassky has missed in this position? Well, of course, the right move isn't something like Queen exchange. This would simply be a drawn endgame. But now we can play move knight to d5, and we question the knight on f6. Now if Black takes on d5, we can simply take the Black queen. That would be a winning position. And the knight has to defend the queen on g4, so if we play something like bishop to g7 and protect the knight, White can take on f6, bishop takes, and the queen is hanging after all. So what about Queen f3? What's White playing after that? The correct move in this position is knight to f6, giving a check. And if Black goes simply away, we take the Black queen and we're a piece up. And if Black plays King e7 and attacks our knight, then we can simply retreat and give a check again. And now our knight is protected, so after something like King to d7, we simply take the Black queen again and are a full piece up. Black's last idea could be something like Queen e6 to protect the knight with the queen. Then we can simply play the move knight to c7 and give a family check, so Black is going to lose material after all. And last idea that Black might have is to move Queen to h4. What can White play now? The correct move here is to move g3. We attack the queen and Black has to decide what he wants to give up, either his knight on f6 or his queen on h4. The queen cannot retreat and at the same time defend the f6 knight. So after something like Queen h6, for example, Black is going to lose the piece on f6. And after the move knight to d5, Spassky in the game gave up and Korchnoi won a very comfortable game after just a few moves. Now this is a very interesting position. Black's idea, of course, is to play something like b1. But is this move really successful? Or should we play a different move in order to succeed? What do you think? Well, after the move b1 to a queen, White has a very great opportunity to still win the game. He can play something like queen a8, and the king has to go on the b file. Let's say king b4, and now the queen just makes a pin and wins the queen back on b1. And now queen and king versus rook and king is going to be a winning position for White. It still requires some technique, but after all, it's kind of easy to win if you know how to do it. So this is not the right approach for Black in this starting position. Also something like rook c1 to support the pawn on b2 is not going to work because White's queen can simply take the pawn and we're having a similar position as before. Now the right move here is to play a check. So we want to delay the move b1 because we want to enhance the position of our rook to c5. Now after something like king f4, can we now play b1 or is it still a bad move? Well, after b1, promoting into a queen, White's probably going to play something like queen to h8. And now, what's going to be played by Black? It's the move king to b4. And if queen to b7 now, we have the rook as a shield on b5, so we are not going to lose our queen on b1 again as we have done earlier when the rook was on c2. So now the right move in this position was to move rook c5 because we used the rook as a shield similar to the Lucena position that we have looked earlier on in a lecture. So if you haven't watched the Lucena position, I really recommend it to you because it's the same technique and you should always know how to play it in the endgames. Now that was our tactic lesson for today. I hope you enjoyed it and now you're ready to conquer the 1200 ELO.